And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again, another day committed to picking a fight with the mainstream media and providing you the timely truth centered around your real estate, credit, finance, estate planning, tax planning, bankruptcy law, and so much more. You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show. Our number one goals are to educate, entertain, enlighten, and we want to engage you in an effort to help you win. Now, the best way to engage is to reach out to our hotline, 813-670-7372.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
813-670-7372. And bookmark our website, consumerqb.com. A plethora of information available at our website, consumerqb.com. You can see links to all of our expert contributors, the finest folks in all of Tampa Bay and the Gulf Coast region that we've assembled, we've vetted, and we bring on the air to help you understand more about your daily decisions, things happening in your life, current events happening in Tampa Bay as well. It's Intelligent Talk Radio, and I've got some intelligent folks here in studio with me today. Attorney Sean Yesner back in studio. He's a local attorney. He's also a podcaster as well. Got a very popular podcast out there, the Crushing Debt podcast. Welcome in, sir.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate the opportunity to come on the show. As always, we're going to be talking about the exciting world of bankruptcy.
Yeah. Hey, it's a way to press Control Alt Delete and get that fresh start, right?
There you go. Yep.
Yeah, man. A lot of people need it, so we'll dive deeper into that. Maybe talk a little real estate law as well. There's a lot of things we can talk about with Attorney Sean Yesner. Chuck Peterson also back in the house. Suncoast Roofing, welcome in, sir.
Glad to be here back in the Bay Area. Nice weather we have today, so we'll be good to go.
You been on the road traveling?
Traveling all over.
Yeah.
Yep. Up and down the West Coast, up and down the East Coast.
Getting it done.
Trying.
Yeah, man.
We just have enough hours in the day.
That's right. Yeah, and enough labor help, right? You guys still feeling the pinch?
Tough sled.
Yeah.
Tough sled.
Yeah, man. Also making his debut on the Quarterback Show, Mike Tabb, Luma Dynamics Solar. Welcome in, sir.
Brandon, thanks for having us.
My pleasure. Yes, sir. Give us a little teaser of what we're going to talk about today.
We're going to kind of get into some of the ways that photovoltaic solar energy can benefit you.
Okay.
That how we can kind of take some of the power back out of utilities' hands and be more of a producer of electricity than a consumer.
I like that. Take the power back. Like I got the power. Like the old song back in the day. I got the power. Let's give a shout out to Brio Tuscan Grill. It's our restaurant partner. We want you all to support Brio Tuscan Grill. They're really making a strong effort here to reach out to our listenership. Now, our partners at Brio Tuscan Grill, the International Plaza, they have something new to offer fans of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Now, if you mention the Consumer Quarterback Show during your visit, you'll get one of Brio's signature appetizers free just for following the show, just for mentioning. So go have some lunch over at Brio Tuscan Grill. It's conveniently located at the International Plaza Mall there, 2223 North West Shore Boulevard in Tampa. And it's great food, wonderful ambiance, very friendly staff. They've got signature drinks as well, but they've got some great appetizers that they're offering free to you just by mentioning the Consumer Quarterback Show. They've got the spicy shrimp and eggplant. That's my favorite. So reach out to Brio Tuscan Grill. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you, and you're going to get hooked up over there. Not only with that free water with lemon, Chuck. They're going to hook them up with the app this time.
It's a great place to eat.
Yeah.
Great place to eat.
It's good stuff, man. So coming up as well in the show, we got our $3 billion project transforming downtown Tampa. We're going to talk about that and how we're kind of ranking versus Charlotte, Austin, Nashville, some of these other the southern cities. And we have our feel-good story of the week coming up as well. Now, we're finishing up right now. We've been doing a top 10 list of the greatest rags to riches success stories of all time. So today we wanted to start off with number 10 on the list is Chris Gardner. So this is the man whose life happens to be inspired by the Will Smith movie Pursuit of Happiness. Physically abused by his stepfather as a child and placed in a foster home, Gardner's woes did not leave him even as he grew up to marry and be a father. As shown in the movie, Gardner struggled with homelessness while raising his kid. It was strengthened of the lessons that he learned from his mother that went on from rags to riches by tenacity, building himself as the CEO of his own stock brokerage firm Gardner, Rich and Company. So pretty cool movie. That was a great movie by Will Smith. And let's kind of recap this top 10 that we did. We did this top 10 over the last couple of weeks. We had number 9 was Damon John, 8 J.K. Rowling. Coming in at number 7 was Oprah Winfrey, and number 6 was John Paul DeJoria. Richard Branson rounding out number 5. Number 4 was Steve Jobs. Number 3, Ralph Lauren. 2 was Walt Disney, and number 1 was Henry Ford. So there's your top 10 rags to riches success stories of all time, according to men'ssxp.com. All right, so as the owner of Platinum MVP Realty and a top listing agent here in Tampa Bay, I want to let you know about a hot listing that we've got here in Tampa Bay. This property is in Carrollwood area. It's 15648 North Himes Avenue in Carrollwood. 5 bedrooms, 4 bath, $485,000. Beautiful property. And check out the great photography by our real estate partner, Fabre Frameworks. They do a great job with the drone videos, beautiful high definition quality pictures. Fabre Frameworks does a great job. Check out PlatinumMVPRealty.com. You'll see all of our updated listings. We've got some beautiful listings on the beach as well. 1024 Mandalay Avenue, Clearwater Beach. Another great opportunity to purchase real estate in this market. The appreciation is there. To be on the beaches in beautiful Tampa Bay. Great place to live, work, and play.
Sun is shining, the weather is sweet.
All right. So Sean Yesner, attorney Sean Yesner here in the house, and when we think about debt, a lot of times people get overwhelmed with it. They in the power of your mind. The challenge is we have a 2 million year old brain that's in our head, and it kind of alerts us to it's meant to alert us to the saber-toothed tiger. These things that are challenging us. And what happens is sometimes when we focus on debt and we say, "Oh man, I'm in such bad debt. I've got all these problems. I've got these bills that I can't pay." It enables us. It detracts from our ability to put it behind us and establish a plan. So I think when we talk with you, Sean, we like to talk about the ability to establish a plan and get out of debt.
Yeah, and I think that the flip side of that. So instead of thinking, "Oh my gosh, here I am in all this debt," if you're able to pay off one card, celebrate that victory, and then take that money and divert it to the next card, pay off the next card, celebrate that victory. I know that a lot of people will say pay off the balance that's the highest or pay off the interest rate that's the highest. I like to pay off the balance that's the lowest to create those victories, to create that mindset that eventually I'm paying off all my debt.
That's right. You get momentum. It's just like a kid back in the day. You're on the merry-go-round. When you first start pushing that thing, you got all your friends on there, and it's just hard. You're going slow. Then you get going, and then it just starts spinning at ease, and then you jump on and you take the ride yourself.
Right. Now, eventually, or maybe in some cases, you may not be able to pay them off, or you may not be able to pay them off fast enough. Right. And then that's where I come in to either help you negotiate those debts with your creditors, or if we have to, we just file bankruptcy and get rid of them. And I know a lot of people have this mental block to bankruptcy because I borrowed the money, I need to pay it back. That is, I think, a personal decision to you, but the bankruptcy code was designed. Sometimes bad things happen to good people. People get overwhelmed. Everybody deserves a second bite at the apple, and that's what the bankruptcy code is for. Yeah,
and let's face it, it's used by businesses. Our president has famously been in bankruptcy. His businesses has. We talked about 50 Cent back in the day.
Warren Sapp.
Warren Sapp, local Buccaneer, ex-Buck.
There's a whole bunch of celebrities that have used it. Even now, I will say Robert Kiyosaki, he did not file bankruptcy, but one of his companies did years and years ago. So Rich Dad, Poor Dad had a company that had to file bankruptcy.
Right. Yeah, so it goes, and that's what you find also with life. There's seasons to everything. There's a winter, spring, fall, summer, to your business. There's this, relationships. You find it in a lot of different areas. So if you, just because you happen to be in a situation where you're coming into that winter, you're dead stuck in the winter and the ground's cold, you're not, the fruit that you're expecting to harvest, the seeds aren't harvesting. It's an opportunity for you to, Control-Alt-Delete, to use the computer IT scenario, and to hit refresh and restart. So I think a lot of times, and it may be somebody that you love, it's maybe just a loved one, it might not be you yourself, but maybe you're listening to this broadcast and you're thinking, this is for my friend. maybe it's something that you should mention to them and have them reach out to attorney Sean Yesner. And once they do, it's an easy process from there.
Yeah, it's a free consult when they reach out to me. So anytime they want to talk to me is free. And then, like you mentioned, I appreciate at the beginning of the show, the Crushing Debt podcast has a lot of information there about bankruptcy, about all the topics that I cover in my practice. But there's a good focus on bankruptcy. The website has blogs I've written on bankruptcy. There's YouTube videos on bankruptcy. So I've got a ton of information that's available for free, including consultations with me, that'll help people understand bankruptcy isn't so scary once you understand it.
Yeah, I think it's just getting to the point of making that step. It's, sometimes when we talk, we've got attorney Joe Pippin that comes on the show and we talk about estate plans, establishing an estate plan.
Right.
I think it's just having the moxie, the whatever you want to call it, to take that action and say, hey, here's a difficult conversation that I need to have. In the estate plan example, it's with a loved one. What if I die? What if you die? What if all these situations play out? Because one thing's for a fact, we are going to die. And then secondly, when it comes to debt, it's a similar conversation. It's a conversation you may have to have with yourself. You might have to look in that mirror and say, hey, can I really dig myself out, or do I need help with that? So when we come back, more from attorney Sean Yesner, we're going to dive a little deeper into the different types of bankruptcy as well. And we're going to bring in Chuck Peterson, Suncoast Roofing, as well as Mike Tabb in the house, as well as our solar expert here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. $3 billion project transforming downtown Tampa, and our feel-good story of the week as well coming up. So stay with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, helping you win in any marketplace. We'll see you right on the other side of this short break. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes. Do not touch that dial. I'll come right through the radio and grab your throat.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here. I'm your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm also a published author and a professional speaker. Check out our book on Amazon, Become the MVP in Your Industry by Surfing the Radio Waves. Real excited about that book, and the next step with that book is going to be unveiled very soon here. We got a really cool national syndication plan in place, so really cool stuff. We got Intelligent Talk Radio, some intelligent folks here in studio with me today. Attorney Sean Yesner, Chuck Peterson with Suncoast Roofing, Mike Tabb, and he's with Luma Dynamics Solar here in the house as well. I want to let you know about a hot listing here that I've got in Old Northeast. Where are my $1 million buyers? I want to talk to my $1 million players out there. We've got a $1.4 million property in Old Northeast section of St. Petersburg. So 215 12th Avenue Northeast. This is a nice real estate listing that we've got with Platinum MVP Realty. And this is a beautiful property. This is an opportunity to own a pre-construction SIPS panel house. So the SIPS panels, if you don't know about them, they're very energy efficient, high wind ratings, fire retardant, all that great stuff. And you have an opportunity to build and finish out the color scheme. So if you want to pick out the cabinets, the granite, whatever type of flooring, you can do that here at 215 12th Avenue Northeast in St. Petersburg. Beautiful property down in Apollo Beach as well. 6508 Bimini Court, Apollo Beach. This is direct access to the bay. $690,000, over 5,600 square feet. Direct access out into the Gulf of Mexico. Fisherman's paradise here on the Consumer Quarterback Show.
Somewhere sunny and 75.
All right. So, Sean, I want to go back to you and talk just quickly here, kind of briefly summarize Chapter 13 versus a 7. You got the different types of bankruptcy laws as well.
Yeah, so Chapter 7 is what we call a liquidation, and that's literally what it means. We look at what assets does the debtor own, what can be turned into cash versus what's exempt from the bankruptcy trustee and from creditors. And so things that are exempt, like 401ks, IRAs, in Florida, homestead properties, all those different types of things are exempt. You get a $1,000 exemption towards your car. You get $1,000 or $5,000 towards your personal property, your clothes, your jewelry, all that kind of stuff. And so we look at what's exempt, what's not exempt, and then whatever is not exempt, the trustee turns into cash and uses to pay the creditors. In a good Chapter 7 case, all of the debtor's assets will be exempt. There'll be nothing for the trustee. The creditors walk away with zero. Chapter 13 is similar to a Chapter 7, although it's a reorganization. It's a repayment plan. So in a situation where, let's say, for example, borrower has a car that is worth $7,000, but it's free and clear, no debt. Well, you get a $1,000 exemption towards your car. So the non-exempt value in that car is $6,000. In a Chapter 7 case, trustee's going to hold out their hand and say, pay me $6,000 or give me the car. In a Chapter 13 case, the trustee's going to say, I want that same $6,000, but now you can pay it over 60 months. So your payment's $100 a month to your unsecured creditors. If you have $30,000 in unsecured creditors, they're getting 20%, 1/5 of what they're owed, and they go away.
So that's a good program for the person that we talked about, that scenario where they say, hey, I have a conscience, I took this money. It's a better program because they're at least paying something back.
Yeah. And Chapter 13s are really good if you're trying to save your home from foreclosure, if you have a lot of IRS debt. Chapter 13s don't necessarily work too well for student loans because student loans get treated like other unsecured creditors. They don't get paid off in a bankruptcy case. So Chapter 13 is really good if you have IRS debt, that can get repaid. If you have a mortgage deficiency, that can get repaid. If you're behind on your mortgage, you can use a Chapter 13 for that. Chapter 7s are better for people that maybe don't own real estate. They're just overwhelmed by credit card debt. People ask me a lot, how much debt do I have to file in order to be able to file bankruptcy? And my response is more than you can comfortably afford to repay.
Yeah.
So somebody with $10,000 that makes $30,000 a year may be a good candidate for bankruptcy. Somebody with $30,000 in debt that makes $1 million a year, probably a bad candidate for bankruptcy. Right. It's just how much can you afford to pay comfortably.
it's going to break down on a case-by-case basis. So we urge you to reach out to attorney Sean Yesner. He's got a conveniently located office right there in West Chase, and can have a consultation with him. Check out consumerqb.com. You can see links to all of our expert contributors at consumerqb.com for contact information. And also there's a contact form there. So if anything you heard on the show so far resonates, reach out, consumerqb.com, submit the form. We'll make sure that we get back to you before our head hits the pillow. All right, let's bring Chuck Peterson in the conversation. Chuck Peterson is a managing director with Suncoast Roofing, and running around statewide helping people recover from hurricanes, putting the roofs back on, doing a lot of good work here in the not only the Tampa Bay market, up the east coast of Florida, and I think just opened up down in Southwest Florida too.
Right. Just opened an office in Bonita Springs a few months ago after the storm because we were working so much down there.
Nice.
So yeah, that's our fourth office, and another one open in Claremont actually in probably April. So
Very cool.
We'll have 5 offices here pretty quick.
Nice.
Yeah.
Growing fast.
Yeah.
So some of the challenges with your market is what about supplies? Are supplies still?
The challenges, like we always talk about, labor. Supplies are short, but labor's shorter and hard to get qualified legal.
Right.
Qualified legal people to work.
Yeah, with papers, documented workers' papers.
Yep.
And part of the reason of that is this $3 billion project transforming downtown Tampa. You look at that, right?
A lot of workers going there.
Yeah.
They're building away down there.
Yep. A lot of the track housing,
it's just short everywhere. You got to remember there was a huge hurricane in Texas before the one we had here on the West Coast. And so labor's just short everywhere.
So a lot of journeymen maybe make the trip out there?
Yeah, it's just, there's a lot of guys here because it's wintertime everywhere else.
Right.
Even though it's warmer everywhere, we have a lot of people who come to Florida to work through the winters.
Right.
But, in another 6-8 weeks, all that labor will be out of the state of Florida, and a lot of it didn't come this year because they were already headed to Texas before we even had a storm.
Right.
So labor's just tough. Material's tough for the same exact reason. Plants can only go so hard so fast.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to build new ones just because we had a couple storms.
Right.
So, it's a challenge.
Right.
But we do what we do, and we keep moving.
That's right. So if people out there are looking for jobs, then you guys are hiring.
We if they want to be in the roofing business, they'd be laborers to start, and that is a tough sled. It's a young man's sport. I mean, there's nobody in this room here is working on the roof.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, it's hard work. I mean, you're out in that friggin' sun all day long, and the guys that do it for a living, they don't slow down. They work dusted on, and they go at it.
Tough guys right there.
Yeah. And we've had guys with us for several years, and they're pretty daggum bulletproof guys at this point. So it's tough. We're looking to hire all the time, every office. We have ads out everywhere we can find them.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So so reach out if you know of anybody looking to get into an employment situation. And so Chuck Peterson, you're the director. We've had Mary Cernicki on the show.
Yeah.
She does a great job in the office.
Yep, she runs our Tampa office. Yep. We got some new folks obviously down in Bonita Springs, and our corporate office is in New Smyrna Beach, which is across the way.
Yep.
Nice little town over there.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, it's beautiful over there. And then we have another office down in Melbourne. So we just keep growing as we can, doing what we can do. But the office we have over here is doing really well. You're talking about the expansion of the growth over here, and we've got nothing but big plans to keep moving over here. We're hiring another, I'm meeting another sales guy today to hire, and
nice.
We keep growing over here. We'll probably split the office we have here into 2 offices in the next year. Growth's been really good.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So when we look at you look at roofing, you look at the cost of a roof, you look at the quality, the different types of construction. It really just depends on what the homeowner's looking for.
Yeah, and we do all kinds. As we've talked about, we do tile, metal, shingles, flat decks, whatever it takes. We've got crews that can do anything that's out there. So, company wise, there's nothing we don't touch. We do commercial stuff. We don't do the big commercial like you're seeing with the guys in downtown right there, at the college. They're building those high rises. We don't do that, but we do strip malls and those kind of things.
Yep.
But mostly residential, mostly houses like, the 5 of us live in. And we're right there
Right.
doing probably 40 or 50 a week.
Wow.
Across the state.
Yeah, that's pretty good numbers there.
Yeah.
What when you look at, sometimes I drive by and the interstates, and you'll look down and you'll see those commercial buildings, and you see that they have flat roofs. I wonder why they designed those buildings with flat roofs.
Got no clue.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you. I mean, it's, the state of Florida now has a building code that everything has to have a pitch to it now. But back in the day, everything was just as flat as it can be. And I don't know. I'm sure it's cheaper construction just to throw some concrete beams across the top and put a coating on it. But it invariably leaks no matter what we do. So we change all those as we go. Anything we do, has to have a pitch now. So we put a taper system on it, which is a set of ISO boards that run at an angle so that everything runs off.
Gotcha.
So no flat roofs that go back on, but not a great design, I would ever think.
Well, when we come back, I want to talk a little bit about solar as well, and we'll bring Mike Tabb into the conversation, trying to talk about how we can put those roofing systems with the solar in, and we're also got an interesting story here teed up for us as well. We got the top 10 environmentally friendly green energy technologies and solutions for home improvement. So stay with us here. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey everybody, I'm Forbes Riley, celebrity TV fitness host and creator of The Spin Gym. I'm here today with Brandon Rhymes, and you're listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show. Great ways to get happy, healthy, and wealthy.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hi, I'm Jerry from Hot Locks Hair Salon. We are conveniently located at 13414 US Highway 19 in Hudson. I've been a local hairstylist in our community for the last 34 years, 7 of which I was an educator. Our passion is the artistry of hair, and Hot Locks is here to help you achieve your perfect image. You can call us at 727-514-9978.
Hi, my name is Joe Stalteri. I'm one of the owners of Complete Care Systems. At Complete Care Systems, we do carpet cleaning, upholstery cleaning, tile and grout cleaning, tile and grout sealing, wood floor and laminate floor deep cleaning, as well as stripping and waxing of linoleum and vinyl floors, and a whole lot more. We also run daily deals and special, which you can find at CompleteCareSystems.com, or simply call Trisha up at 727-364-5158, and she'll answer all your questions and give you over the phone free estimates. Or she'll send me out to your home or office to give you an on-site free estimate. At Complete Care Systems, we don't cut corners, we clean them.
Listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
Welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, owner of Platinum MVP Realty and a top listing agent here in Tampa Bay. We're looking for real estate listings right now. There's a lack of inventory, and man, we got families, several families that are moving into the area. We just cannot find adequate homes for them. We need inventory. PlatinumMVPRealty.com. Check out our website, PlatinumMVPRealty.com. You can do a valuation on your home, find out what the value of your property is. You can also do a search as well and search right from our website, PlatinumMVPRealty.com. And giving a shout out to Mary Maids is our official cleaning partner. Let Mary Maids take care of your winter cleaning. We know clean. Leave the details to us. Mary Maids, relax, it's done. And Mary Maids is our official cleaning partner. We'd love for you to reach out to them. They do a great job cleaning our real estate properties, and they are bonded, insured, customized cleaning services, reliable services, and the same team cleans whenever possible. Voted the 2016 Women's Choice Award most recommended cleaning services. So reach out to Mary Maids, let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you for special incentives. Mary Maids, relax, it's done. All right, back here in studio, we got attorney Sean Yesner in the house, Chuck Peterson, and Mike Tabb as well. So Chuck, I want to go back to you now. Let's talk about, when you add solar to a roofing system, ideally, is it best to have that on the original roof, or you putting it on a roof later? How's that roll out?
If they've got solar, then we have somebody like Mike has to come take it off because we're not licensed to put it back on.
Okay.
So they come take it off, and we put the roof system on, and then they come put it back on. If it's on a pitched roof, if it's on a flat deck roof, where you see those runs of solar panels sitting on top of a flat roof,
right?
Then we take the roof off, and we have those guys put all the stands on, and then we seal everything so the homeowner has a sealed up roof with our warranty going to it instead of Mike's, because he's got to go through the roof if it's on a pitched roof. So we deal with solar not greatly, because the state of Florida just doesn't have as much solar as a lot of places, but we deal with it on a daily basis probably across the state.
Yeah, it's funny. You hear the Sunshine State, and the reason why we don't have the most is the political game that's being played.
Part of that is the power cost in the state of Florida is pretty low, so the return on the investment for Mike and his guys is not as great as in some places, like where I'm from in Charlotte. In North Carolina, our power cost is double what it is here, so the return for the guy buying the panels is much quicker.
Right.
So the power cost generates a lot of that, but I mean it's an absolutely great product.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we got the top 10 green energy technologies and solutions for home improvement. So we're going to talk about that. Let's go ahead and bring Mike Tabb into the conversation. Luma Dynamic Solar.
Yes, sir.
So so you guys are putting on these solar technologies, putting the efficiencies to work for homeowners.
Indeed. And to the point Chuck brought up about the roof, we like to see a newer roof. We're obviously not going to put solar on a 15, 20-year-old roof.
Right.
And traditionally electricity has been viewed as a fixed operating cost in any business, from commercial to residential. Your power bill is what it is, regardless if it's 12 cents a kilowatt hour or 40 cents a kilowatt hour, like in Southern California and other places. And I say it doesn't have to be that way any longer. That as we see solar, the price has dropped dramatically over the past even 4 years, even 2 years, I would venture to say. And as that continues to go lower and lower, like Chuck said, the returns met a lot quicker.
Right.
But even still, aside from return and state incentives and even federal incentives, it's about taking a little bit of control over how you create your electricity and where all that comes from. As of right now, if they raise the power cost for all of us in this room right now to 75 cents a kilowatt hour, there's not a whole lot we're going to be able to do about that.
Right.
Because that is your utility provider and you can't shop around.
Right.
And for me, we can get into the financial aspects of it, the return of it, the different technological advances that we've made. But for me, it comes down to, I like to use this analogy. If I don't like Toyota, I can go buy a Nissan. I can go shop for a Ford. With your utility provider, That's just not the way it works.
Yeah, it's basically a legal monopoly is the way that the system's set up. So, you look at, getting it without getting too political here. We're not a political show. Homeowners. So there's some homeowners that are taking the leap. They're saying, hey, let's put this on. What's a reasonable and recoup of the cost? When are they going to see their investment back?
On a lot of residential systems, we're looking at an 8.5 to 11.5 year return, something like that. Obviously, it's very particular. There's individual needs and factors that play in. Even just roof space. I mean, at a certain point, we can only put what we can put on the roof space. We only have so much square footage to work with. We can only reduce so much of the consumption or the what we're using within the structure. So we're limited in that regard, but yeah, generally 8.5.
Yep.
10-year return, something like that.
Yeah. Plus you're doing something great for the environment. It's just a completely renewable source that is the sun's rays. So there's other harnessing, that you talk about as well. You talk about Tesla and the technologies they've created for their cars. They've also have these different walls, the charging walls and things like that. Sure. Power wall. Yeah. So what does that do? It harnesses the power and holds it.
It just keeps it.
Yeah, it's essentially a place to put the electricity. Right. I mean, when the sun's down and it's not creating anything, in theory, you want to have that battery. It's just a fancy battery on the wall at whatever capacity you have it set to.
Yeah.
Store it and be able to charge and discharge at your discretion is where storage really kind of comes into play. And it's really a great benefit with solar. The price point on some of the storage technologies is still, in my view, a little high to meet a acceptable return, but again, as we see the price on the storage go down, and even aside from storage, there's a lot of ways that solar benefits a homeowner.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, so let's talk about these top 10 green energy technologies and solutions for home improvement. So we'll go through this list. We got top 10 here. So number 10, it says install smart power strips. Smart power strips are a simple and elegant solution to major energy problem. So smart power strips, is that similar to what we were just talking about?
No, I don't think so. I think that's more of being able to. I think it's just like the power strips we have in here.
Yeah, the electrical side.
Yeah, to where you can shut it all down at one time.
Although I can tell you, I had power strips set up in my house, and I had from the street a power surge come in from the utility provider.
Yeah,
and it zapped 2 or 3 of the surge protectors, the power strips that I had in the house, and it saved the technology, saved the computers and TVs and whatnot that were plugged into it.
Well, that's good.
But those strips were destroyed.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
You can buy a lot of those strips now come with that surge protector warranty on it. You got to pay, but I mean they're big mothers and they will take a huge hit.
Yeah.
Good point. Okay, so there's number 10. Number 9, it says buy Energy Star appliances. How big a difference do you think that makes?
Huge. From what we understand, the Department of Energy says that 40 to 60% of your power cost or your HVAC and hot water heater. Yeah. And if you can go ahead and upgrade those. And this ties into solar as well. You want to reduce as much as you possibly can before you try to produce.
Yeah, your capacity.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. You want to try to reduce LEDs, anything you can do, probably a lot of things on that list there before you ever start looking at generating electricity.
Number 8, install an energy monitor. So one of the easiest things you can do is decrease energy consumption around the house is to install an energy monitor.
Yeah, sure. It's like a thermostat, and it collects the data for what instruments use what.
Okay.
On your thing, and that's where the Energy Star appliances come in and all the other stuff. It'll tell you what your refrigerator's actually using.
Yeah, because maybe you have an old appliance that's pulling so much extra.
It's amazing the difference.
And I think a lot of this comes to being aware and educated of where our power is coming from and how you're using it. I think that's huge.
Does it say on there if you have young kids, tell them to turn off the dadgum lights when they leave the room?
Yeah. That's another one.
Is that one of the tips on there? Turn off the lights.
Initial cost of the energy monitor is $20 to $150 is what they're saying. So that's pretty cool. It says,
it gives you a lot of information.
That's a good idea.
Absolutely.
Yep. Let's see. Number 7, invest in double pane windows.
Bingo.
Yeah.
So if you're building a house, that makes sense. If you're retrofitting, it's just going to depend on what, hey, are you going to live there for many, many years? Are you going to maybe rent it out, keep it as a long-term rental? If you're going to be selling within 3 to 5 years, who knows? Maybe you might not want to make that move. Number 6 on the list here. Again, we're going over the top 10 green energy technologies and solutions for home improvement. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. We've got attorney Sean Yesner in the house, Chuck Peterson, and Mike Tabb as well. So number 6 on the list is, let's see, we've got, replace your HVAC system with an Energy Star HVAC.
Yeah.
So
that would be a huge, if you have an old outdated system, definitely look at it, adjusting it, doing something about that, and try to not, I would advise with solar and all these things, try not to get so caught up in the initial upfront investment. I understand we all don't have disposable cash like flowing out of our ears here, but if you start to sit down and do the math and you look at it over the course of that system, HVAC, solar, and you start to look at what you're spending either way, any bit you can do about that, any percentage of that you can offset and better reduce your power consumption, you're going to win.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, when we come back, let's say the top 5. We're going to do the top 5 green energy technologies and solutions for when we come back. We're going to bring that and also more from our expert contributors. We're going to jumping into our lightning round. We're going to give you top tips, nuggets of advice from our expert contributors here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. See you on the other side of this short break. Don't touch that dial.
Hey, this is Jarek Robbins. You are listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show with Brandon Rhymes. Please do what it takes to learn all that you have to live the life you want to live it fully, and find a way to give it by paying it forward to others.
Get in touch with Brandon online at consumerqb.com.
Ian Beckles here with my
Enjoy tranquil seclusion in an eco-lover's paradise. Paddling through the mangroves where the only sounds you'll hear are the sounds of nature. Because you deserve to relax on vacation, visit Pasco County, Florida.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, owner of Platinum MVP Realty and a top listing agent here in Tampa Bay. Looking for a bilingual, Spanish-speaking real estate agent right now. We've got a lot of leads and get a lot of calls, as you can imagine, here in Tampa Bay with the the high ethnicity that we have with the breakdown. So we have a lot of real estate need for a realtor, a Spanish real estate agent out there. Reach out if you have someone in your network that would be interested in that. 813-670-7372, 813-670-7372, our consumer advocate hotline. And in studio today, we've got attorney Sean Yesner we have Chuck Peterson, Suncoast Roofing, Mike Tabb, Luma Dynamics Solar, and we're kind of going through the final 5 here on this list of top 5 green energy technologies and solutions for home improvement. So, number 5, insulate your home. Based on EPA estimates, 10% of your household energy usage, or around $200 a year, is due to energy loss from poor insulation.
Absolutely.
Very true.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If your air conditioner's flowing out of the every seam of your house, then you're not doing very much.
Yeah, and there's a lot of in Florida. If you have a block house, there's a couple companies that they will come spray insulation into the walls that you don't have, because those old block houses are pretty old, but the concrete block's pretty common in Florida. You can get those insulated, and it cuts a tremendous amount of.
So they spray it actually down the hole?
They actually drill holes in every block that goes around in the middle, and they pressure it in, and it goes up and down. And
Nice.
It fills the whole top to bottom from your from your head wall down to your foundation.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, it's great, and everybody can go get extra insulation and put in their attic.
Absolutely.
Number 4, install a rainwater harvesting system. Rain collection systems, extremely simple mechanical systems, and a gutter roof. So
I'm not terribly sure that's legal. I actually think that's
legal. It's just I don't know how much it does.
How much you're going to save? That's what I'm thinking.
It does save you having to water your plants, maybe, but a lot of people do that. They'll put a 55-gallon bucket at the end of their downspouts, and then they'll use it to run a light pressure hose or something to their garden.
Just put a little tap in the bottom, and it'll push it out.
This brings up a point to me. This idea of off-grid is technically not a thing, because it's technically, in some senses, I don't want to get too far into that.
You can't get off grid.
You can't. It's technically not really a.
Yeah, I mean, you can't use that water for anything but watering plants or something.
Right.
You can't. It's not potable water. You couldn't use it for drinking or anything.
Right.
But you could clearly use it if you water a lot of stuff outside. It would clearly save you some money there on your water bill.
Sure.
Right.
Electricity-wise, I'm not sure how that would benefit at all.
None.
Yeah. Very little, if any.
Yeah.
Install a wind generator. You think about throwing a wind generator on, Sean?
No.
Nobody's thinking about that, right? I mean,
no, but I'm
wind
thinking
generator.
of the things that, again, with the kids, plant them in the front yard, let the kids blow on them and spin and
maybe they
colors.
will use up the energy. They won't leave the lights on.
There you go. They'll be too tired to turn the lights on.
Yeah. So it says when you think of wind generators, the first thing that comes to mind is huge windmill farms found offshore and in the plains. So. Yeah, that's an interesting one.
I don't know what that does for you.
Don't see a whole lot there.
For me, the big issue is moving parts, and that's one of the benefits of solar. There are no moving parts. From an operations and maintenance standpoint, over the course of that turbine, there's nothing moving. So as long as the circuit's made solid with solar, we should be good to go.
Yeah.
Although I did have a question about the durability of the solar from things like hail, or in this part of Florida, hurricanes, and how durable are the solar panel systems?
I mean, they're durable. Within reason. Even a cracked solar panel is still going to make electricity. It's in a sealed frame. It's part of your homeowner's insurance, though. So as it becomes a part of your structure, it's covered. So if I know from all the installations I've done, I'll say this confidently: if the wind's strong enough to pick that up, it's going to lift your whole house, and that's going to be the least of your worries.
Yeah, it wasn't so much about the wind lifting it up. I was more the wind throwing stuff down on it.
The hail, you'll get some cracks and things like that. It's tempered glass, like a windshield, so it's not like you're going to be dealing with shards of glass or anything. And you would need to get those replaced by a professional. But they're pretty durable. Though.
Number 2, install a solar water heater.
Yeah,
solar water heater.
I would say, that could be of benefit in some cases. Maybe we see a lot of pool water heaters where you have the solar thermal, where it's essentially in a series of tubes and it's heated by the sun and filtered back through. And I see that as great benefit, actually.
And number 1 on the list of top 10 green energy technologies: install a solar array. Solar panels, photovoltaic cells are not only the best way to reduce pollution, lower your electricity expenses, but the average cost of installation, typical solar array, comes in around $30,000 before green energy tax credits.
Yes. So you're going to have a 30% federal tax credit that's still in place until 2020, I believe, by law. So you got that coming to you on the next year's tax returns. And again, like I said before, solar really comes down to a math problem. You got to look at what you're using, and you got to do as much as you can to reduce that.
Right.
And then you sit down and say, this is what it's going to cost to install the system with a reputable installer.
Right.
and you kind of go from there. And for lack of a better term, is the juice worth the squeeze with this? Some people are just not solar customers for whatever reason. They may have a huge oak tree. They may not have enough roof space.
Yep.
But more people than not are.
Yeah.
And I think the big problem is I don't think people know that they need it and know that the price point has really gotten a lot more cost effective.
Well, I'd like to see a trend, almost like a movement of people saying, hey, let's buck the system. Let's get away from these power companies. Let's utilize what makes the common sense. And I think it's just a number. It's a numbers game. Like you said, it's a math equation that has to make sense for the homeowner. It's got to come to a point where the technology, think about when laptops first came out back in the day, what are they, $2,000 or $3,000? Now you get a nice laptop or a decent laptop for $300 or $400.
Sure.
Right. So you look at the different. John saying no. Well, you get something to work with.
Different than mine.
Yeah, he's running all these videos and all that good stuff.
He's got all these games he's playing over there. Who knows what he's doing?
So when you look at the technology game, it's something that it's always getting better. It's improving, and hopefully with solar and some of the things from a macro level. The government and what we're doing with to fight hopefully the green gas effect in the world, and the old argument of are we getting warmer? Is it man made? Is it not?
I don't think that's really an argument, but nonetheless, we won't talk about that.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
But here's the thing too. Florida's really late to the game in the solar powered business. You go out west. I mean, California, they put them on in track houses.
Right.
The builders put them right on the houses.
Yep.
Comes with the deal. You go in the Midwest and they're everywhere, even going further north in the South. And like I said, some of that's driven by the rate of power that we have down here. So the returns aren't as good as they are other places. But really, solar's really young in the state of Florida. I mean, it's going to grow exponentially.
I'm a Florida native, and the only thing that I know solar for is heating pools.
Right.
That's the only time I've really ever seen solar.
A water heater.
Sure.
You see one glass panel on a house.
And that's kind of what I'm seeing as the problem is that there's an education disconnect that we don't have here. We don't have to get into the science of how photovoltaic cells work, but understanding your relationship with the power provider, what true control they have over the situation. And I think when people really begin to understand that, and the masses begin to really understand that, it can change. But it starts with things like being aware of where your power comes from, like those meters. If we're just flipping lights on and off and we're not concerned about how much coal or whatnot it took to burn that so that light could happen and the processes that happen, if we're just oblivious to that, then there's only so much I can do.
I thought the power came from those little holes in the wall. Isn't that where the power comes from?
That's exactly it. Yeah.
The little panels.
That's where your money goes to. You just put it right down the hole. Sucks it all in.
Drop a coin in there next time. All right, lightning round.
I am so good at lightning rounds.
I majored in lightning round.
All righty, top tips, nuggets of advice, parting words of wisdom. Attorney Sean Yesner.
I would say save everything. Save everything for a reasonable amount of time. The cases that I've been most successful in prevailing or winning or helping the clients, they have a ton of documentation that I can use, and it's hard to dispute when you have something in writing.
Yeah, that's great. Great advice.
How long a time is for a while?
Well, I talked to someone today who said he paid off a debt in 2010, and he still has those documents. I don't know that I would suggest that long, or if you want to do it that long, put it in Dropbox, put it in the cloud, put it somewhere. But typically statute of limitations is 5 years, so at least 5 years.
Yes.
In most cases, you're going to have a 5-year statute of limitations. But hey, if you can store it on the cloud, whatever.
Yeah, it's cheaper to store nowadays. Chuck Peterson.
Mine is make sure you know who you're dealing with. When a contractor comes to your house, do some homework, do a little research, make sure they're licensed in the state, make sure they're licensed in your county.
Yes.
Check them out. Make sure you're dealing with somebody who's reputable, not somebody who's going to take a deposit and never be seen again.
That's right. We've seen it happen over and over.
A lot.
Mike Tabb.
Same thing Chuck said. Know who you're dealing with, especially as far as a solar installer is concerned. Let's be a little more aware of where our electricity comes from.
Yeah.
Let's just be a little more mindful of how and what and how we're using that. And I think that people should know that solar is a lot more cost effective, and that I think it can make a lot more sense for people, more people than they may think.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I want to thank all of our expert contributors, attorney Sean Yesner, bankruptcy law, real estate law, Chuck Peterson, Suncoast Roofing, Mike Tabb, Luma Dynamic Solar. I want to thank all of our listeners out there, our viewers of our TV show on WeBeam TV, as well as remind you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Something as simple as packing up some leftover food, clothing, carrying it with you to and from your commute, hand it to that person that you see in need on the side of the road, and be a force for good in the community, and go out there and do something kind for your neighbors. We'll see you next time here. Follow us on Facebook at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Twitter, at Brandon Rhymes 1 Instagram, and connect with us on LinkedIn as well. We'll see you next time. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.